Tension, selections from the permanent collection, feature 6 sculptural works from the Art Gallery of Northumberland's permanent collection. The works are tied together through their visual and material similarities and the responses they elicit. Each is a blank slate open to interpretation and holds the ability to be shaped into whatever metaphor the viewer wishes. The materials of each piece, such as stone or metal, feel hard, sterile, and distant, despite having been transformed into beautiful works of art. Through their tough and rigid materials, through a balancing act, a push, a pull, lack of information, or lack of engagement, the sculptures evoke an air of tension.
My name's Avery Geboers. I am the Collections and Curatorial Assistant at the Art Gallery of Northumberland. And currently in our permanent collection gallery, we have the exhibition Tension, selections from the permanent collection, which I have spent the past year curating. And we put out on our social medias kind of a call for some questions that maybe visitors had about the exhibition or people who haven't been able to see it yet, some things that they were wondering. So today we're going to be answering some of those questions and just digging into it a little bit. Originally, I was given 10 sculptures to work with. I narrowed it down to 5, the 5 being 3W3 by McCleary Drope, Counterpoint by Jeffrey Beaumont Childs, Portrait 7 by Catherine Burgess, and Unexplainable You and Untitled by Koso Oluwal. Then I kind of stumbled upon Uxmal by Ted Beeler when I was in the AGN's vault for something else, and I just felt like it really fit with the other pieces. I was drawn to all of them because of their similar materials, metal and stone, also for the similarities that they had in terms of shape, and the feelings that those shapes and forms really evoked for me. I found that they're all very sharp, abrupt shapes, not necessarily the most inviting, but I think that's what makes them all really interesting. Each made me ask, why are they so appealing despite having this uninviting quality to them? One of the biggest challenges was balancing letting the work speak for themselves in a way that allowed visitors to come up with kind of their own interpretations of them, while also making sure to provide enough context and kind of insightful direction so that people have the tools to build their own ideas. I feel like it's a very fine line to walk, and it's a line that's going to be different for everyone, which is what really makes it a challenge. I just hope that it made people think a little bit and inspired them a little bit. Originally, while planning the exhibition, my intentions were to put it together and to write an essay in a way that allowed me to kind of teach people something about either the theory of sculpture or abstraction or material language. But something about that never quite sat right, and because of that, I couldn't really get that to a place that I liked. So as it went on and I met more people, I just kind of started to think that they don't really need to be taught something. You know, people are smart, and art isn't necessarily about a right or wrong answer. It's about thinking and feeling. And so I just felt it would be more beneficial to frame it in a way that asks, what is it to you, instead of just stating this is what it is. I think one of the biggest things that I learned was the importance of receiving feedback early on in the planning. Some of the most useful research was hearing what my coworkers thought about the pieces, how the works made them feel, and what stuck out about them. So hearing those different viewpoints had a really big impact on how I move forward. And I think those kinds of conversations are definitely something that I'll want to have in the beginning of planning my next exhibition. Um, 3W3 by Clary Drobe stands out the most to me. It was probably the most challenging piece in the show because I wasn't able to find a ton of information about the work or the artist, and wasn't really given a ton of clues on how it was meant to be displayed. And this air of mystery around it felt quite overwhelming at times. And I kind of just got to the point where I thought, how can I convey this overwhelming quality of the piece? Which is why it's hung over the entire wall. I wanted it to feel big and kind of like it was taking over, or it was like a gate in some way. And I think of all of the works, that piece also had the biggest transformation from being hung on the wall compared to when it was disassembled and kind of packed up. Having it hung and with the lights on it, making it cast shadows, it completely changed how I viewed it. And I think that piece has also inspired the most conversations out of any of the works. It's had the widest variety of interpretations. Like, we've had one visitor compare it to stars. Someone else said that to them it looks like a bunch of dancers. And another, which I think is my favorite, is someone said that to them it looks like a flock of birds. And I think the flock of birds is my favorite because my thinking of it almost like a gate as something containing or locking away is completely the opposite of a flock of birds, which is open and free. During the planning of the exhibition, I felt that I had some very strong reactions to the works just based off of how they looked, based off of their aesthetics. And as I mentioned in the essay, to me, they feel very hard, sterile, sharp, angular. But I was trying to be conscious of the fact that not everyone will feel this way about them. And that I think this is kind of the beauty of these works, that they are all so open for interpretation. So instead of just telling people this is what I think it is, so this is what it is, I wanted to leave room for visitors to kind of have their voice heard and share their interpretations, the connections they made, and to really question what the materials meant for them. And also for people to kind of leave something that could maybe inspire the next group of people that come into the gallery. I thought that would be a nice way to kind of connect people as they enter the gallery. So this answered some of your questions, maybe some of the whys, and gave a little bit of a sneak peek into the planning that took place for the exhibition. We also hope that for those of you who haven't been able to come out and see it yet, that this kind of provided some visuals and kind of an at-home exhibition viewing. We are still continuing to take exhibition titles. If this inspired you or gave you any ideas, feel free to comment below, and you can leave your title along with a little description if you want. And we are going to be continuing kind of showcasing the different things that people come up with. So we're super excited to hear your title for this exhibition of works from the permanent collection.
Each work's abstract nature allows them to be open for interpretation. The artists have employed skillful manipulation to similar materials, resulting in diverse stories to be told. The shapes created are evocative and beautiful. This response comes from material formed into purpose, which is where the question of material language comes into play. It is where the need for individual interpretation sits, and it is where I encourage you to share your translation of material. To me, it is tension, but what is it to you?